KPIs give OKRs a bad name. If one more person tells me OKRs and KPIs are the same thing, I will scream. So this is where consultancy doesn't really help itself. It's an acronym, it's another acronym, and it just confuses people.
Today we're going to be talking about OKRs versus KPIs, because I think it's fair to say, Tim, that these are often kind of, misconstrued, kind of confused, kind of interwoven. And actually they're quite different tools that do very different jobs. So I think we're going to be kind of digging into how clients often confuse them and hopefully just bringing a bit of clarity to that.
Yes.
And do these
Let's
tricky
do
acronyms.
Yeah.
So to kick us off, Tim, if you could explain, firstly, what are the two acronyms? How do they differ?
KPI, they've been around quite a long time. Key performance indicator. Okay. It is indicating if we are reaching performance, if we are performant or not, and it's an indicator of that. So it's a metric. OKRs we talked about in the last episode, objectives and key results, a goal setting framework that allows us to write down objectives, outcomes, and key results tell us if we're making progress towards those objectives.
That clarifies what the two acronyms are.
That says what they are.
Which is great. It's great. And I think in our last episode we spoke about how one of the differences is that one of them's kind of a health metric and the other one is more about direction. Yep.
I have seen leaders think key results are results that are key, right? They're like really important results because they thought, key results is a really important, and it's, when I read it, it's a big, long, ambiguous sentence, not measurable, and sometimes not even directional. It's a result we have to achieve, and it's really key, and therefore it's a key result. And that's the logic that's gone through their head.
Yeah.
The bigger confusion I see is the KPIs and the key results being misunderstood. Now, the way I like to explain this when I provide training and workshops, I step away from technology, I step away from consulting, I step away from organisational change, and I use an analogy of driving my car. So we're sitting here in Winchester in lovely Hampshire at the moment, right? When I get in my car and I drive to London, it's up the M3, and whilst I'm on that drive, I look at my dashboard. On my car, it gives me all sorts of information about my fuel, my speed, the temperature of the car, the revometer of the car. So all sorts of data is being given to me, and it's telling me about the health of my vehicle. Has my vehicle got
Mine's
fuel in it?
Mine's been flashing up for a while that I need to do an oil change.
There you go. Okay,
like
so your dashboard's giving you some health warnings, right? That's useful. It is useful.
That if you pay attention to
If you pay attention to, we should do, yeah. So KPIs are a bit like those kind of data that you get from your dashboard, okay? It's just something you should keep an eye on, and it's just going to give you a warning if something's going wrong, or if you just keep an eye on it, just giving you information. You don't have to change any behaviour as a result of it. No. Now, when I drive to London, I'm not very good with directions, so I program my sat-nav in my car, and I say, I want to go to this address, okay, and I put in the postcode, and then I look at this thing, not the dashboard, but over here, and it tells me how far I've got to go. Oh, you've got 60 miles to go, and the number comes down. It tells me roughly how long it's going to take me to get there. If I go wrong, it self-corrects. It suddenly says it's going to take longer because I've taken a wrong turning. These days, it's got real-time dynamic traffic data. So if there's a blockage on the M3, suddenly it goes up. These are like key results, right? These are like OKRs because they are telling me, am I getting closer to my destination? I'm trying to go a direction and I'm getting some data back. Now, the reality is I need both sets of information. I do need to keep an eye on the information on my dashboard. I need to know if I'm going to run out of fuel, okay?
Yeah.
But I couldn't just rely on the mileometer. I couldn't just say, well, if I drive until the 65 miles, my overall number of miles I've done in the car goes up by 65 miles, and then I will be at my destination. I'll be a bit closer, but I need the precise...
Well, you might be if you go in the right direction.
If I go in the right direction.
You could end up in like a completely different place.
Correct, yeah. So that's why I need the sat-nav, because I need something that's telling me, am I going the right direction? Am I getting closer? Am I further away? Is there a blockage?
Is there a quicker route?
Is there a quicker route? Yeah, all of that stuff. So this is where the whole OKRs could help with that. But I also couldn't just switch off the dashboard because I might run out of fuel. My engine might overheat. I might not have any water to spray the window when the snow comes up. So all of that information on the dashboard is really helpful, just to tell me about the general health of the car and the vehicle. All that information in the sat-nav is telling me, am I getting closer to this place that I want to go, the goal I'm trying to meet?
So we have those two camps. You have your health metrics, which should be your KPIs. That's how you maintain the status quo. That's how you make sure everything keeps ticking along, everyone keeps doing their jobs, everything's working nicely for your customers, right? And then you have your key results, and that is all about direction. So that's around growth, scaling, improvements that you want to make. That's kind of where those kind of aspirations fall,
exactly.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. And back in organisational territory, you can have lots and lots of KPIs, right? You should, in fact, I'm really data driven. I love KPIs. I love having lots and lots of measures which are telling me about the health of my business. Is it performing? Is anything going wrong? But I just got to let it, like you say, I just got to let it churn over. And if something is going wrong, maybe a warning light's going to come up. Now, I might see a KPI in time thinking, that KPI is telling me we need to go a different direction. In which case, I might take it into my next OKR goal setting session and say, look, this KPI has been telling us that, our revenue has sort of got to this level and it's not growing. So this health metric is sort of just giving me a little bit of a warning light.
But that's a moment, isn't it, where something needs to change.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right? Something needs to be improved.
We need to change course. So, and our friend here is our OKR. Right. Let's write an OKR in the next quarter that is going to do that, and then we're going to track: are we reaching our new destination? Are we changing direction? And once we have, it can be coming back into KPI territory, so that we keep an eye on it.
Yeah. What's the impact of that confusion? What's the overall cost to a business if they're not using those two things in the right way?
I've worked with C-suites where they've read my material or other people's material, and they've seen this thing about 3 to 5 key results per objective and no more than 5 objectives in a quarter. And they've said, Tim, you don't understand the complexity of my business. I couldn't possibly distill everything down into 3, 4, 5 measures.
I do find that quite amusing because you've got a ton of experience, and yes, consultancy experience, but you've been in so many large businesses.
Yes.
And you've engaged so many large teams.
Yeah, that's
and I bet,
true.
I mean, you can probably count on 2 hands how many times someone said that to you.
Yeah, there's sometimes a this won't work here reaction when I come to organisations, and they pick up on something about OKRs, and in this particular one, they think I'm going to tell them to bin all of their KPIs and turn them into OKRs, and I say I'm not. I need those KPIs. You need those KPIs, and you need lots of them. I'm not telling you to get rid of them. They're actually, the more the better, because they're going to tell you. What I'm asking you to do is to distill down to 3, 4, 5 objectives, each with 3, 4, 5 key results in any one quarter of where you want change to happen. And I want you to home in on that, because your teams will then be able to focus on making directional change. So I think the confusion has been, are you asking me to get rid of KPIs and replace them with OKRs? I'm absolutely not. Are you asking me to slim down and reduce the measures? No. Keep those KPIs. Have loads of them. Data is good.
Keep that dashboard.
Be more data centric. Yeah, absolutely. More KPIs are great. But are we talking about which of those are you actually trying to make change to? That's where our OKR framework. And I think that's the confusion I really try to iron out early on, especially with leadership teams.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because it seems like a barrier there with the focus.
Yeah. Understanding
that they've really got to distill down what their dashboard, their KPIs are telling them into change initiatives, basically, right?
It's back to that problem. We try to have too many balls in the air at any one time. And if we have hundreds of KPIs and we just say we're trying to get every KPI to move, we're trying to get all of those needles to move at the same time, everybody is juggling hundreds and hundreds of balls. They're constantly context switching. They don't know what's most important to work on. Everyone's working in different directions. And this is where all sorts of negative performance starts to happen, where if we can really home in and focus the teams on the really important measures and the really focused goals that they're going to work on, then we really see the needles move and we see high-performing teams and high-performing organisations.
Okay, so for this next bit, Tim is going to give me some statements and I'm going to guess whether they are an OKR or a KPI.
All right.
I have a feeling this is going to go badly.
We'll see.
But we'll
learn.
We'll see.
Okay.
Okay, cool. So,
Right,
go for it.
so the first one, is this a KPI or a key result? KR. Increase average weekly active usage of the platform from 48% to 70% of licensed users by the end of the quarter.
Because it's a change, I'm going to say it's a key result.
Yeah, I think it's a good key result. It's also time boxed into the end of the quarter.
Yeah.
So we're talking within a 3-month period, we want to move the needle of active usage of licensed users from a baseline of 48% to 70%. That is a change in direction. It's something, it's not the status quo. We're actually going to move the needle. So I think that would make a really good key result.
Amazing. I have to say, the intro to key results really clarified
Clarify
that for me.
Good.
So that's really good. I feel like I've learned something today, guys.
Let's see how the second one goes then. So, is this a KPI or a KR? Launch and embed a quarterly client review cadence across 100% of active engagements with at least 85% attendance from economic buyers.
I mean, it's got to be a key result again, because we're talking about launching. We've got some really clear metrics there, measurements. I mean, I guess quarterly makes it time specific.
Yep, it does.
Yeah.
What's the measure in that? What measures have we got?
Launch and embed a quarterly client review cadence across 100%. Oh, wait a minute. With at least 85% attendance from economic buyers. I mean, that's or is that just setting a target?
Well, it's I actually think there's 2 key results in there.
Okay,
and
it's a long one.
This is an interesting one because I instantly see ambiguity. Because what if we get 85% attendance from economic buyers, but it's only come from 50% of active engagements? How are you going to score that?
Oh, that's so true.
Or what if we have 100% active engagement? So it's when I see 2 numbers in a key result, I go, ooh, hang on. How are we going to, is this going to be confusing?
Okay, so that's good to look out for. 2 numbers is a bad sign. You're already on the wrong track.
Yeah.
Go back to the drawing board.
I would.
So is it just a bad key result?
So it is a key result, I think. It is definitely a key result. I think
Or
it
a
would probably
first
tweak.
iteration.
I would probably look to iterate on that a little bit and say, what's the needle we're really trying to move?
Yeah.
And I think it's the attendance from economic buyers, and we're trying to get that to be 85%. So I maybe reword and get rid of the 100%, so doesn't accidentally become the focus. So I think it feels like there's 2 key results in there.
Yeah, and they're distracting.
And they might distract a little bit, but you're right, it is time boxed. And you probably need a bit more context to understand if this is a change or if this is something that happens all the time. Every time we do this, we have 85%, then it probably doesn't need to be an OKR. It's like a health metric that we just want to make sure, and only if the warning that comes on that suddenly that's dropping off, might it become an OKR. So this is one of these ones that I would probably probe and ask, why is this and what's the context for it?
Yeah, you can go into more detail.
Is this a KPI or a KR? Reduce average sales cycle length from 94 days to 60 days while maintaining current average deal value.
So if this was a KR, I would say it's a bit of a bad one.
Yeah.
Because it does talk about maintaining. So I'm going to say that it's probably a KPI.
Yeah, again, I would probably split this.
Yeah.
I think maintaining current average deal value is a KPI. So what is the deal value, average deal value today? Let's say it's $3,000. Okay, well, that is a KPI. Let's keep an eye on that. If it dips well beneath, then warning bell, might want to think about it. But if it keeps going in that, then we're happy. Maybe reducing this average sales cycle length from 94 days to 60 days. That could be a part of a quarterly objective. We want to really improve the whole sales process. We want to get time to sale right down. We want to improve revenue from new customer sales. How are we going to measure that? Well, one of them could be a key result that says, well, let's get the sales length down from 94 days to 60 days. And then there might be some input key results to track your effort. So I think you could probably split that. The first part could be a key result, and the second part could be a KPI that you just keep an eye on.
Yeah. I think what's really nice about those two examples is it really shows you how you've got to really drill down and really think about it. And for me, it highlights how useful it is doing that in a workshop space with other team members who are constantly challenging you. Yeah, but why?
Yeah.
Like, what does that relate to? Why is that important? And then I think you can avoid setting these kind of more wishy-washy KPIs or key results.
It's the sort of thing, you'll write that yourself and you'll think it's a great key result, a great KPI, but then if you show it to others and they just ask a few clarifying questions, you realise, oh, we can improve it together. Or if you have a coach come in and maybe a coach does a review, or these days there's bits of technology that could help, just check it, just run a few checks through it. And we'll just clarify, is this really going to help you do what you want to happen as a result of this? Are these the right ways to measure it? Are these the right ways to optimize the measure? So, yeah.
I guess what does like best practice in combining the two look like for you?
Yeah, I mean, so I guess I've learned from my own experience of trying these out. So some of the patterns I've noticed are, if I have a key result and I keep having the key results every quarter for a few quarters in a row, and I suddenly realised, oh, I'm not actually trying to change this. I'm just trying to maintain it. Then I think it falls into the KPI camp. They definitely work well together. I try not to bring the two things into my team meetings. So we have a weekly OKR check-in, and this is all about, are we making progress towards the objectives and the new direction we want to achieve in this quarter. I do a monthly business review for all of my stakeholders, for my shareholders, for my employees, for my associates, my advisors. And in that, there's a lot of KPIs because, they're interested in what's the health of the business, what's revenue looking like, what's profit looking like, what's the pipeline looking like. I've done that religiously for 2 years every month, on the last day of every month, partly as a mental health check for me on the business, because I just think I need to have a structure. I'm going to go through all of my KPIs. I'm going to see if there's any warning lights. Often that gives me ideas for the next quarter's OKRs. I'm looking at something, like number of new customers is not quite. It seems to be flatlining a little bit. So maybe next quarter, that's something we'll try and change as a team. I can't change it right now, but when we get to the next quarter's OKR writing session, we can do some brainstorming, some how might we sessions, some facilitated discussions about, about focusing on addressing something which has maybe alerted me in my monthly business review.
Yeah, that question was harder than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
I've certainly learned a lot from this session. As always, pop any comments, thoughts into the comment section, and please do subscribe. We're going to be doing more of these videos, just demystifying some of these really kind of, some of these tools, some of these high level kind of consultancy concepts. Also, check out our video that we did last week. Yeah, OKRs and how to make really good use of them. And hopefully this just kind of adds to that as well. So fab, thanks so much for joining us.